It's spooky season, so welcome to a little Halloween special. Health and wellness jump scares, things about your body that might actually surprise you. Welcome back to Wellness Fixes the Pod. I'm your host, Dr. Kelsey Vick, a board certified orthopedic doctor of physical therapy and a pelvic floor physical therapist. And I figured it's a little bit of a themed episode today, but I thought it'd be fun to chat about maybe not jump scares, but just surprising things about our bodies as women primarily, but there's actually a few male fertility facts in here too, because they do affect us as women. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about 10 of the most surprising facts about our bodies and how they work. So it'll be a fun, casual, little spooky fun fact episode. Number one, sperm aren't just built for fertilization. This one isn't about our bodies as women, but it's more of a male fertility fact. The minority of sperm released are actually for fertilization. The majority of sperm that are released are for creating the right environment for sperm to thrive, helping attack some of the female immune response so that sperm can actually thrive and flourish and fertilization can happen. So, most sperm are actually not related to fertilization. The female reproductive system is extremely acidic, so it's very poor for sperm life and sperm movement. So some sperm help to neutralize the acidity. The female reproductive system is very viscous, so it's like thick mucousy, and it's very poor for sperm traveling, of course, just logistically. It's harder to move through a more viscous substance. So some sperm help to liquefy the environment a little bit more to help with the general motion of sperm. And the female reproductive system has a very strong immune response, which is good to ward off invaders. But some sperm are actually in charge of distracting the guards, basically to allow for fertilization to occur. Number two, this one's one of my favorites, but creatine loading has been shown to help decrease some of the more negative symptoms we have during the luteal phases of our cycles. And honestly, all phases, but a lot of the negative side effects of our cycles and the negative things that we go through happen in our luteal phase, and creatine can help offset some of that. So there's a few recommendations. The normal recommendations are 5 grams of creatine per day, but in your luteal phase, there's a potential switch, and it's called creatine loading. It's 5 grams for 4 times a day, so 20 grams a day total, but split into increments for 5 days, followed by 5 grams twice a day. So you're moving from 20 grams a day for 5 days to 10 grams a day for 5 days. And then you can slowly titrate back down to 5 grams one time a day. But one serving is still that 5 grams a day. It's not like you can just load up 20 grams at once and call it good. You do have to time it, which can get tricky. I've been doing that over the last few months since Dr. Katie Hirsch talked about it on her episode. So I'll link that episode below. But yes, it is a little bit hard to time it right to get the 5 grams just throughout the day. But it has significantly helped with some of my symptoms during my luteal phase. So in our luteal phases, our basal metabolic rate increases, meaning we require more ATP, more energy for cellular functions. Hormonal shifts can lead to water retention, bloating, breast tenderness. And there's neurotransmitter shifts that can lead to mood changes, irritability, anxiety, and sleep disturbances. So creatine benefits us by helping to reduce fatigue and improving our energy levels, enhancing our cognitive function, mood stabilization, and overall less bloating because it transitions water from extracellularly, like where we might feel a little bit more puffy, to intracellularly, like in the muscle tissues. So I'll link that episode that we did with Dr. Katie where she mentions this below, but it's been a nice little tool in my toolbox, let's say, to help during the luteal phase. Number 3, pain is not a signal sent to our brain. We have no pain messengers, but it is the response our brain comes up with if it feels we need to be protected, if there's danger. And it doesn't just rely on the tissues damaged. Pain can be amplified by other things, external circumstances, our mental state, different hormonal fluctuations, different chemicals within the brain. It's not just the tissue damage that causes pain. There's actually been a study done that pain can be amplified based on the color that we see at the time of pain. So if we're seeing red light and our hand touches an extremely cold surface, we will register that as more painful than touching the exact same cold plate with a blue visual light. So there's different factors that help our bodies to register pain. Pain can also be amplified based on past experiences. For example, neck pain is worse in the general population and lasts longer compared to demolition derby drivers who go through high impact collisions for their job all the time. So neck pain in the general population who might not undergo this sort of job or career is usually more intense and lasts longer compared to the neck pain of demolition derby drivers. Number 4, we have differences in motivation and risk tolerance throughout our menstrual cycles. In the late follicular phase, just before ovulation, we approach opportunities quicker. So we approach rewarding stimuli quicker, especially as it relates to money or social rewards. And we overall have a focus on opportunity in this phase. In the mid luteal phase, we have a quicker avoidance of negative stimuli. A lot of it has to do with evolution, or there's a theory that the reason we avoid these negative stimuli quicker in the luteal phase is because should fertilization have occurred, our body wants to protect that developing baby. So that's one of those evolutionary theories for why this happens throughout our cycle. But we have a quicker avoidance of negative stimuli, and there's a focus on threat avoidance versus approaching opportunity. I can't even remember what number we're on, I think 5, but you need a certain amount of body fat to even have a period. We need about 17% body fat in order to start getting our periods and about 22 to 28% to maintain our periods. This is why gymnasts, youth runners, ballerinas, their sport either promotes or has a tendency towards lower body fat percentages. A lot of those girls get their periods a little bit later because they don't quite have the body fat percentage minimum to even get their periods in the first place. Another fun fact, fat is actually a molecule that helps with our hormonal regulation from estrogen to leptin. So fat is definitely necessary. Number 6, breastfeeding is endocrine or hormonally driven for the first 4 to 6 weeks, then it becomes baby driven. So when we talk about regulating milk supply and different things, that 4 to 6 week mark is where that regulation can start to occur, where it becomes baby driven and more pump driven. But those first 4 to 6 weeks, it is hormonally and endocrine driven, which I learned this past May when we interviewed Sanina, who's an international board certified lactation consultant. And she actually told me that. And I thought that was so cool that our bodies just know how to do that hormonally immediately after we have a baby. And then it becomes baby driven. Number 7, we cannot spot treat fat loss. Fat loss is a systemic process. I feel like a lot of people are starting to understand this, especially if you are listening to a health and wellness podcast, you probably already realize this. But when people say lose your fat in your lower belly by doing more ab workouts, lose that inner thigh fat by doing more inner thigh workouts, it's not actually true. Fat loss is systemic. We can't choose where we lose fat from within our body or where we utilize fat for fuel within our bodies through the exercises that we do. It just doesn't work like that. Number 8, another male fertility fact that actually affects us as women revolves around preeclampsia or high blood pressure during pregnancy. The chance of preeclampsia in the female was significantly higher with paternal, so father, obesity, compared to the normal BMI group. As paternal BMI increases, the rate of preeclampsia rises. 13 to 19% of the development of preeclampsia can be attributed to the male. We've done an entire male fertility episode, so I'll link that below. That was during our Mamapalooza Women's Health Podcast Festival back in May, but I thought it was interesting to start to look at the other side of the equation since oftentimes we focus on the female side of fertility, but there's an entire male side of it too, obviously, that I feel like needs to be talked about a little bit more. And what better way than to introduce it to a bunch of girls and women who might be able to introduce it to their significant others or partners, especially if they want to get pregnant one day. Number 9, the initial increase in strength, the first 4-ish weeks of a new strength training program actually has nothing to do with actually increasing the size of your muscle. It has more to do with the connectivity between your brain and your motor units. So it's more about neuromuscular connections versus actually just skeletal muscle. If you have better communication from your brain to your muscles, you have better recruitment and therefore increased strength. So that's in the first 4-ish weeks. After that, then a lot of the strength improvements start to come from actually increasing muscle size or hypertrophy. And then lastly, female-specific skeletal muscle facts. So this is jump scare number 10. Women have more slow twitch fibers than men. So we have better endurance overall, but slightly less power. Women's skeletal muscles, because we have more type 1 fibers, are also more fatigue resistant. Women's skeletal muscle resists fatigue for longer than men during submaximal tasks, even though our overall strength is lower than men's. So just different sort of fun facts. We all have skeletal muscle tissue, but the distribution between type 1, which are those like slow twitch, more endurance-based muscle fibers, and type 2, which are more the fast twitch, speed, power-based fibers, the ratios differ between men and women. I'll link that episode where we chat more in depth on that. below if you're curious and want to get a little bit deeper into the science behind it and why women might need to prioritize certain sprinting power based activities more so than men because we don't necessarily have as many of those fibers. So we have to train it to improve it, but then train it to also maintain it. So happy Halloween to all of those who celebrate. It's not my favorite holiday necessarily. I'm the scaredy cat, honestly, but I feel like it's a fun little Halloween special episode. My look is a little Halloween. Togo's joining me right here for he wanted to make a little appearance on this Halloween episode too. So I hope you guys enjoyed these 10 health and wellness jump scares in honor of spooky season. And I'll see you guys again on the next episode of Wellness Big Sis the Pod.